What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast, and today I have with me my boy Andrew. We got episode 125, and man, oh man, I know I don't sound as ecstatic as I'm sick, so you guys might see me mute my microphone. I can do it like this, and then when I do that, you guys can hear me. So don't be surprised if I do that. I have a decently good cough and just not feeling well, but I needed to muscle through this. We need to get this done because there's a big storm that's going to roll through. So we're going to make this quick. This isn't going to be a super long episode because today is Guardians opening day, my friend. At least just in baseball in general, our home opening day. I believe it's next week or the week after that.
It's next Friday is the home opener.
Okay. Of course, I didn't view my mic there, but yeah, opening day for us is officially today. The official season started yesterday. So last week we gave you guys that quick bet. That did not hit, which sucks. Because Aaron Judge struck out his first appearance instead of walking because he's a doo-doo head and he's guaranteed to strike out like 180 times a year. It's just how it works with him. But before we get any farther into the episode, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to the sponsor.
Yeah, so no free bets this week. But check out our sponsor, Effortless Wins, for sports betting advice and plays to boost your wins. Talk to Tony or Greg. Links are in the description. Just as a heads up, Greg did go 3 for 3 in live bets today. So this is what you're missing out on. 3 for 3 in live betting. You could have had that and made some good money today. I definitely did. I took those and made some money today. So you can too. All you gotta do is just talk to Greg, and this is his niche. Now, again, unfortunately, his Aaron Judge over half a walk free play didn't hit, as I believe Aaron Judge had 2 full counts, and one was a ball in the dirt and he swung and missed, and then one that was up and almost hit him in the face. He somehow managed to swing at that one too, so he could have had 2 easy walks, and he just decided that he just wanted to go for a home run, and he had 3 strikeouts and a ground out. So he finished with an 0 for 4 day, and he's already off to a flying start.
Hell yeah. I mean, hey, that's the name of the game when it comes to Aaron Judge, man. That's really the name of the game when it comes to power hitters.
Mm-hmm.
We're just, throwing out names before we started. It's like Travis Hafner, Jim Tone are a few of them for us. But gosh, there are so many that are the same exact way every year on every team. You always see them. And it's just how the nature of the beast is. But don't give up because again, this is the nature of having to bet, especially on baseball. It's you're gonna miss sometimes, and you're gonna hit even more. You just got to be smart and listen to the pros because I promise you, these guys do know what they are talking about. So yeah, shout out to Greg and the boys as always. So. Obviously, I said earlier that the Guardians start off their season against the Seattle Mariners at 10:10 p.m. So I will not be awake for that game since I am sick. I'm going to be asleep probably by like 9 or 9:30. But Drew might stay up for it because he is a legend and he enjoys his Guardians. So he's probably going to have a full breakdown of it for next week and everything else. But yeah, man, just talk a little bit about starting lineup. It just came out about 10 minutes ago, and it's a little bit different than I expected it to be.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I will most likely be awake for the Guardians game because your boy has a hard time sleeping early. So I usually don't fall asleep until about 1 a.m. anyways. Even I could go to bed and lay down at 10 o'clock and I still won't fall asleep until like 1 a.m. So that's just how I am. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you, because I can bring it up, the starting lineup for the Cleveland Guardians tonight.
Yes, sir.
For the 10-10. So as you see right there, you got Stephen Kwan in left field, Chase DeLauder finally out in right field playing. He's going to be fun to watch tonight. Yes. Jose Ramirez after him, which I think that's a crazy 1, 2, 3, 4 combo right here. You have Kwan, DeLauder, Ramirez, and Manzardo. And then Bo Naylor, who's had a really good spring training and a good World Baseball Classic. So, and I know for him, they said he kind of had something wrong, like a little hitch in his swing over the last couple of years. That's kind of been leading to a lot of strikeouts and missed opportunities. They said they fixed his swing. It's a lot smoother now, and he's been just hitting the ball very well in the World Baseball Classic and in spring training. So hopefully that can translate into the season as well. Obviously, newly acquired Rhys Hoskins taking over first base, which has been a solid get so far, especially he had a good spring training. Daniel Schneemann out in center field. Arias out in shortstop, and then Brian Rocchio as the second baseman with, of course, no surprise, Tanner Bybee on the mound to start things off. So I think this is a good lineup. This is a lineup that we've wanted to see for a while. Obviously, we're kind of hoping to see Travis Bazzana be inserted soon enough, hopefully maybe after a month. So maybe in May, at least May, we'll see Travis Bazzana, depending on how he does down in AAA. But as of right now, this is not a terrible lineup whatsoever. Yet this is a very good defensive lineup. And I think this is a lineup that's very underrated when it comes to hitting, because I know a lot of people are saying like their biggest worry for the Guardians is the batting. And I think people don't understand that this team could really hit the ball, especially if Stephen Kwan can get back to his old self. Right after him, you have a kid who's been smoking baseballs 470 feet plus, and Chase DeLauder and Jose Ramirez. I think there's a story about Chase DeLauder the other day where the guy said, "Who's that kid who just hit that ball 510 feet?" And it was Chase DeLauder. And so, he's going to match the baseball this year. I actually have a bold prediction that he might hit 30 home runs this season if he's fully healthy. Him and Jose Manzardo all three will hit 30 home runs plus. I think this is a very underrated lineup when it comes to batting. Again, Rhys Hoskins, before he got injured with the Brewers, he was a consistent 27 to 30 average home run hitter. So again, that's another guy who could probably top, if he's healthy, he could top 30 as well. So you have 4 guys on this lineup that could probably get 40 home runs.
Oh, yeah.
And if Bo can cash out, because Bo's got a lot of untapped power, if Bo can cash out, he could probably get you 20 to 25.
Yeah. And don't forget, too, towards the end of the year, especially during that playoff run, Rocchio really got hot. His power started to come out. We know Arias can have some power, but he has trouble being a little more consistent.
Yeah.
He is going to be a guy that you're really gonna watch throughout the year, being like, hey, is this the guy that's going to get replaced by Bazzana? How is this going to work? It really just depends on when the Guardians are willing and ready to have him come up. You said May. I think it'll be more around like All-Star break, like sometime middle of summertime. I think is that perfect sweet spot. But if he breaks at AAA, there's no telling how quickly they will want him up here. And
that was my thought.
And especially depending on any sort of injuries at all, which God forbid you don't want to happen, but it is reality. It could very well happen. So this is a very low-key lineup. I think a lot of baseball fans that don't know the Guardians and they don't know some of these players, like you're gonna get to know a guy like Chris DeLauder. We have been very high on him for years now, and he's been struggling due to his injuries, but he is coming into this for the first time healthy. And as you said, he's mashing the ball in spring training. Now that could change because the competition is going to get upped a little bit, so it might take him a little bit of time. But if you guys follow us on X, me and Sean were just gloating about his swing, his mechanics, his footwork, like everything. It's so beautiful for being a guy that is so young. I'm actually might put down a small bet for him to win the Rookie of the Year award.
I might too.
He does have the capability to drive in 30 home runs, and so does Manzardo. I mean, Manzardo was close, I think, last year. Him and Ramirez were both right there, and just to have that much power, I really like Hoskins at the 6th spot because again, he's more power as well. Schneemann is going to be more of a contact guy, but he has a little pop to him as well. And again, Arias can have some pop, and you really got to see what Roque can do. But overall, like this is a really good lineup, and I am curious as to what your take is because we've heard a lot about Stephen Kwan potentially being in center field a lot more this year than he has because he's always been a left fielder. And with the way that this lineup is working, they have the ability to kind of switch him in and out. So, for instance, Schneeman tonight is in that spot, and Steven is in left. But that could flip flop. That could change. And also with Valera, once he comes in, you're going to see Quan probably in deep center a lot more. And I'm just curious as to what your expectation is for him because I don't think people fully understand the difference between being in left and right and then being in center field. It is such a big difference. You cover way more ground, and it's a little more daunting if you're not prepared for it. So I'm just curious how you think Stephen Kwan will be able to adjust once they get him in the flow of that a little more this year as they expect him to.
Yeah, so I don't know if you actually know this. By the way, I did look at the statistics. Kyle Manzardo had 27 home runs last season,
Yep.
and Jose was exactly at 30, which Jose had another 30 for 30 season. I'm assuming he might get close to a 40-40 season. I feel like he
Yeah.
can. And then Reese Hoskins, even though he was injured and only played 90 games last year, he was on pace for 30. He had 15 home runs before he left. And he did have a career high 35 home runs too for Reese Hoskins. So he can get to that untapped power because he averages around 27 to 30 home runs in his career. But going to your question about Stephen Kwan, people don't know this, but Stephen Kwan, when he first started in the Guardian system, he was an everyday center fielder. He played every single day in center. That was his main position was center field. So this is nothing new to him. This is not a brand new position. It was brand new when he got called up because you know we had to put him in left field because at the time we had Miles Straw.
Yeah.
And at that time when we first acquired Miles Straw, he was actually hitting the ball very well. He was batting around like 280, had like a 800 OPS. So Miles Straw was hitting it. Obviously, he wasn't a home run hitter like Stephen Kwan. He was exactly like Kwan. He was just a guy who got you singles and doubles. And obviously, Miles Straw, the one thing we loved about him was he was fast as hell too. So that dude was rapid. He could run the bases. He was like Jose, he could turn a single into a triple out of nowhere. And that's what you loved about him. But again, obviously injuries and whatnot just sluggish play from Miles Straw kind of derailed his career. Now he's the starting center fielder for a team that just went to the World Series last year in Toronto. So it's not like he had it bad. So
Right.
But that's why Kwan was pushed to left field is because you had a guy like Miles Straw who was playing really well and overtook that center field role.
Yeah.
So the only place to put Kwan was in left. So Kwan is an everyday center fielder to begin with. So this is a position where he could thrive in now. With the injury to Valera, it's going to push him back and forth to center field and left field. Depending, obviously, tonight we have Daniel Schneemann starting in center, which is going to put Kwan into left field. And I heard something from someone saying that how it's going to go is if Kafis starts, then Kafis is a good play on the left, and Kwan is going to play out in center. Same with George Valera. If George Valera is back from whenever he's back from injury, you'll see Valera start on left and Kwan being in center. But when you see Schneemann or Angel Martinez start, those two will play center field and Kwan would be pushed out to left. So obviously we're seeing that tonight as Daniel Schneemann is starting in center and Kwan starting in left field. And they said Chase Salata is firmly the right fielder. He's not going to be put anywhere else. He is just the firm right fielder. So right fielder won't change. It's just whether or not who starts, whether Kwan would be a center fielder or a left fielder, essentially. And again, a lot of that is based on the pitching matchup, whether they're facing a lefty pitcher or a righty pitcher.
Yeah. And, I just think the guys that we have up right now, and, I also have the whole team here up as well. So,
oh, cool. Do you want to share that?
Yeah. If I can.
Let me exit out here.
Present. Share your screen. Window. All right, you see that? Oh my goodness. Hold on. I don't like that.
You have to hit what your so like if it says like X or something, you have to hit the one that says X on it, not your actual screen.
Let's find out. Hopefully it's this one. Okay. All right. See that?
There we go. That's better.
Okay. So obviously we have the pitchers. A few guys to name. Obviously Cantillo is back. We got Bybee. Armstrong is going to be the bullpen. Parker Messick is going to be the fifth guy in the rotation, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
You have Gavin, you have Slade, obviously. You have Matt Hesta, which I don't love. Tim Herron. Don't know Holderman too well. Same with this Paulette guy. Sabrowski, obviously Cade Smith is going to probably be the designated, last guy
Yes.
for saves. So expect that a lot this year, and we'll see who else kind of steps up when he needs time off. But then you also have infielders. So you got Arias, Hoskins, Kafis, who is technically a first baseman. And I am curious to see how they sort of navigate between Reese, Hoskins, Kafis, and Manzardo. It sounds like Manzardo will mostly be DH. It sounds like that's where they want him the most. So I think having a guy like Hoskins and also having Kafis, it gives you that ability to sort of flex that and have Kyle be sort of your main DH. And that's important because he's a very good hitter. You want him to kind of worry only about that when he can. But he is a pretty good first baseman. He started getting more and more time last year, especially when we got rid of Santana. So hopefully we'll see him there a little bit as well. And then obviously you have the GOAT. You also have, Rocchio, and you technically have Schneeman as an infielder. So he is going to be more of that, Swiss Army knife. And same with Kafis. Like Kafis can do both. So that'll be fun to see as well. And then your outfielders, CDL, Angel, and Stephen Kwan. And then your catchers. I am so happy that we have a fully healthy David Fry again. It's going to give the ability for us to not have to rely on Hedges a lot unless he has a specific pitcher that they like him behind the plate, because that is a thing. And we were very hard on Bo last year about the way that he would frame, the way that he would catch. It took him a long time to kind of get familiar with some of these guys. But the good thing is now that you have more of a younger squad, you have guys that have thrown with him a lot more, and that's going to be good for him. So it is going to be nice though, because Fry can also play first. He can DH. He can kind of do it all as well. Besides, actually, I think he can even play third. Can he? Like he can kind of play everywhere.
He could play outfield too, because when we first brought him up, he was playing out in right field, so he could play in the outfield as well. The reason why they did it is because of his shoulder injury.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to be a hitter for sure. He's going to be a pinch hit guy. He's going to be a guy that you're going to see a lot in and out. But yeah, I will say, and I want to make this note, I think all year long we have been talked about as being like the fourth best team in the AL, Central, and I just don't know beyond the Tigers how you can say that Cleveland isn't at least 2 or 3. I mean, the Royals are a toss-up. It just depends on if they're healthy, but they never really are. The Twins are in a really rough spot, and obviously Chicago is in a bit of a rough spot as well. I do hope that they're a little bit better this year, because it does suck when they are just at the absolute worst team in the league. But it's just sad that a lot of these people in media are just, again, talking so badly about the Guardians. Like, they've won the pennant 2 years in a row. They've been a pennant winner a lot over the last decade. And they've always at least gotten into the playoffs. Now, I know they're not going deep into the playoffs besides 2024 when they had that little run against the Yankees, which obviously came up short. But this Guardians team is young. Yes, I give them that. But this team has some really good players. And if Bazana is hot coming out of AAA and you insert him into this lineup, you are talking about a really, really, really good firing squad with power and just good hitting and the ability to really squeak out some games. But again, I'm really excited about CDL. I think he's the one that, pretty much everybody is excited about. I am also excited about Hoskins. Sean loved the move as soon as it happened. He was very much in favor of it. And again, it's just going to come down to the middle of the field. Like, who's going to have a worse year, Arias or Rocchio? And then the other thing is Stephen Kwan going to be here for the whole year? We know he's kind of playing a little bit of hardball when it comes to his contract, and from what we have heard, um, you know, he's getting a very fair market value, and he still feels like he wants more. So I don't know if it's more so the years, if it's the money itself. I don't know what they can't align on, but you probably won't hear about it this year. They at least got through arbitration, I believe, for this year. So you probably won't hear much of anything unless they decide to trade him. And depending on how he's playing, you just don't really know. But he's a good player. We know that. But sometimes these players, they don't want to stay, or they're a little too greedy about what they want and what they desire. And I don't blame them. And he probably could get paid if he would go to a Padres or, a Dodgers. I know he's an LA guy. But unfortunately, it's just not how the real world works all of the time. And I hope it doesn't get ugly. Like, I hope they can sort it out and he can be a Guardian here for a long, long time, because fans love him. The fans love Stephen Kwan. He's a great player. He always starts off a lot hotter than he ends the year. So hopefully he can be a little more consistent this year. But he's a guy that you really want on this team, because when he's playing on, he is a 330 hitter. I mean, that's how good he is. And he's gotten a little more power over the years. Like, over the last 2 or 3 years, you've noticed Stephen Kwan has a little more pop to his bat. And that's big, especially for, the first spot in the lineup. So having him, and then having to follow up with CDL, and then having a switch hitter in Jose, it gives you more flexibility. And I'm really pleased with this, with this lineup. And this won't be the first time or the last time that you see this particular lineup, because for now, this is probably going to be what you're seeing for, I would say, a good 3 to 4 days a week minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, this is a lineup you're going to see majority of the time. And so what we're seeing is a lineup that can be very consistent. And like you said, the people who put us in like fourth place and went out behind the Twins and behind the Royals, like the Royals, I can understand, because the Royals have made some really good moves and they have a fully healthy pitching staff. Yeah. Because that was one of the biggest concerns last year, was that their pitching staff wasn't really fully healthy.
Yeah.
And they didn't have their main guy. But again, I always think of the Royals as a team that when they do have, even when they have everyone, they always just seem to underperform.
Yeah, 100%.
The only one who actually performs is Bobby Witt and Salvador Perez. Those are like the only two that perform year in and year out.
And those guys are legit MVP candidates at this point, especially Witt.
Witt's the biggest one. Salvador Perez is kind of like Miguel Cabrera. He's just an 80-year-old guy who still can hit the ball really well and
right.
stuff like that. And he's getting ready to exit soon. But again, they got guys like last year, like Jonathan India, and now they have like Vinny Pasquantino and Jack Caglione. And don't get me wrong, those guys played very well in the World Baseball Classic and whatnot. I don't think India was there, but I know Caglione and Pasquantino were on the Team Italy, and they're playing really well. But again, just because they played really well in the offseason doesn't translate to regular season. Like, they're praying Jack Caglione, who was drafted just after Travis Bazzana.
Exactly.
Is going to be a guy that mashes for 30 plus home runs. And if he doesn't, he underperforms, you're going to start raising some flags. Like, obviously he's still young, but again, you're going to be like, oh my God, we thought this guy was going to mash like 35 plus home runs.
Yeah.
And again, there's times where Vinny Pasquantino could become quite inconsistent at times. So the Royals just have, like you said, there's times where they have an injury problem. There's times where they have an inconsistency problem, where they'll go out and start off really well, then they'll lose the next like 10 games and just be like severely inconsistent. And for the Twins, they're just severely injured
all the time.
Plus now they've been having debacles with their owner because they're trying to get the owner to sell. And then they sold half their roster. I mean, Carlos Correa went back to Houston. A lot of guys are gone. Again, Byron Buxton is still there, but again, you have concerns about his health throughout the year because he's a guy who misses 100+ games a year, it seems like. So unless he's healthy, he's also kind of an MVP candidate when he is healthy. But again, that's if he's healthy ever. Then you got Joe Ryan, who's one of the better pitchers in the MLB in the American League. But again, who's to say he's even going to want to stay there during the year? He might leave at the deadline. So you might lose your top pitcher. Their bullpen's abysmal. That team is just abysmal. And we just saw Chicago get smoked, was it 15-2?
Yeah.
So Chicago's definitely not going to compete for anything. I think the Twins are going to be just as bad as Chicago. That automatically puts us in third. I think with the inconsistencies of Kansas City, I'd put us in second behind Detroit. And what people tend to forget is that we're always good against our own division. We are always really good against our own division. That's very crucial to win a division, is to be good against your own division.
Yep.
And the Guardians have been very good in the last decade in our own division. So I mean, that takes into a huge account. And again, I'm sure you saw my retweet the other day of like, oh, like the Guardians are facing like the Dodgers and Seattle and these pitchers, whatever. It's like, well, we're 1-0 against this guy. We're 4-1 against this guy. We're 3-0 against this guy. So it's like, do people just not look at this stuff before they judge anything? Like, do they? Like,
no, they never do. They never do. That's your question.
Well, and you know, there's it's funny because like every time I hear people make rankings and talk about the Central, whatever, when they get to the Guardians, you're just like, well, it's the same story every year. They don't sign anyone, so we're just going to put them here. Or like, I don't know too much about them, so I'm just going to throw them here. Or one guy said on Barstool, goes, I just really want them to lose, so I'm just going to put them in fourth or whatever. It's like, so you guys just really don't have anything to say about the Guardians besides you just don't know what this team is.
Right.
And, you know, I'm going to share this because I thought this was hilarious, by the way, was BetMGM, where they had like the American League tiers. It's like AL East.
Somehow we'll win 90 games.
Yeah, the other good teams, and it's like somehow we'll still win 90 games, the Guardians. And guess what? BetMGM is right, because no matter how much people really believe like, oh, this Guardians team's finally going to finish like third or fourth in the division, whatever, somehow, some way, we still managed to win the division or win 90 games and make the wild card.
Yeah.
So you can say what you want, and it seems like they're not that confident in Kansas City because they still have them as a 500 team, and you know, they actually have the Twins in irrelevancy with the White Sox. So it's like, at least BetMGM actually knows sports, apparently, because they have us somehow still winning 90 games. And again, that's probably going to be true because people still underrate us, and they're like, I don't know. And they're talking about our pitching, and they're like, well, I'm not so sure about this rotation. You mean the rotation in the second half of the season was the best rotation of baseball, posting a 2.50 ERA for the entire second half of the postseason, or the second half of the season after the All-Star break?
Yeah.
You mean that team, or that pitching staff that was top tier? Also, by the way, people want to rag on Detroit's pitching staff. I did a little research yesterday, Zach, and I looked up team pitching stats, and guess what happened? Guardians were ranked top 5 in ERA. Detroit was barely 11th. And then we had bullpen ERA, whatever. Again, the Guardians were top 5. Detroit was like 13th. And then, you know, there's other pitching metrics. Opponent batting average. Guardians, again, were top 4. Detroit was like 7th or 8th. So it's like, yeah, all they have is Tarek Skubal. Yeah. Of course, they're not going to be that great outside of school. Now they got Framber Valdez, which is going to help them a lot.
It will.
But their bullpen's still not the greatest. There's still a lot of question marks in their bullpen. And again, they're like, well, I don't know about this pitching staff. I don't know about this bullpen. It's so weird.
So you just don't know enough about it, to be honest.
You mean the top 5 pitching staff from last year and the top 5 bullpen from last year? Is that what we're just completely forgetting about?
Yeah.
Like, are we just that ignorant to even just do a handful of research just to be like, oh man, they were top 5 pitching staff for their starters. Oh, they were top 5 bullpen. Didn't take that long to Google it for me. It took me 5 minutes to find that.
It's because they don't watch, and they don't want to watch because we're not a big market team, which is fine. But I'm saying, like, don't talk.
If you're gonna make these if you're gonna make these ratings, at least do some research on these teams so you can have an accurate reading of the ratings. Don't just say, I don't watch enough Cleveland, so I'm going to put them in fourth.
Yep.
Whatever. I don't watch enough the Yankees, so I'm going to put them dead last.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing when it comes to this rotation, and I did make a note of this, is Bybee needs to get back to form. I know he kind of ended a little bit better than last year, but the start, that first like 2 or 3 month span, Bybee was bad. Even Gavin Williams is another guy who both of these guys have the ability to actually win a Cy Young. That's how good they can be, especially Gavin. Gavin reminds me a little bit of Kluber. Just not as dominant, but same kind of build, same kind of demeanor. Like he can be really, really, really good, but he has a tendency to walk a lot. So you hope that he has adjusted that a little bit. We obviously saw, love what we saw from Slates Coney. I mean, once we got him, he for a while there was our best pitcher. I mean, he was, I think, a couple outs away from getting a no hitter last year.
I was there.
So I mean, what he brings. Messick is going to be a guy that you saw a little bit last year, but you also kind of liked his stuff a little bit. You're like, okay, like this guy's got some, some up to him. So again, I know this rotation's young, and as I put in my notes, the younger core could either be nasty or it could be a tragedy. We will just have to wait and find out. So the final thing that I want to go over to end this, because I know we're not going to do a very long episode, but what is your over-under win total for the year on this Guardians team? I know you just pointed out the sort of 90 wins. I'm curious where you actually think they are going to be.
So it's kind of a tough tell without obviously seeing them play first, obviously. But if I had to put like an actual like number, because I'm also trying to see like what they have for like teams for alternate win totals or for win totals. Because I just want to see where they're gauging the Guardians. So they have the Guardians at 78.5. I think that's
low.
I think that's over. I think it's over for sure. Like I would say my over under is probably like 84, 85.5.
Yeah, I was going to say 85 to 87. Like that was going to be my highest.
Yeah.
Like we could hit 90, but this is it's still a pretty tough division, and there are some really good teams in the AL. So you're going to have some adversity, but I don't see this team being a sub 80 win team. I don't. But
It's
again, they said the same thing about us last year and the year before. So are we really going to keep falling for it? Yeah. So are we really going to keep falling for it as fans, or are we just going to believe the team that we have in front of us and ride with it? Because we love our guards. Like this is becoming a guards town. It's becoming more of a baseball town than ever before. And let me preface this by saying it has, but it was always sort of more like a football town first because everybody loves the Browns. Everybody loves football, but the Browns are really bad. It's tough to obviously root for them. They've been bad. So what are these fans going to do? They're going to go to the Guardians because games are cheaper. It's more fun. It's more family friendly. Like if you have kids, go to a Guardians game. You will probably spend a little more in parking than you will on your actual ticket unless you get good tickets. But take your kids, especially once it's beautiful out. Wait till about May before you really start getting out there, and then dude, by September, most beautiful weather ever. Most beautiful weather, and we all know playoff baseball in Cleveland is goated. It's unmatched, and it'll be really fun. And plus, you'll have the Cavs. I mean, the Cavs are obviously getting ready to gear up for the playoffs. I know we're a little hurt, but they're gearing up. They got about 10 more games left, I think, and then
it's about 10 more
over, and then it's time for playoff time. So we'll get more into that over the next week or two, and plus towards the end of the month, not this month, but next month. So about a month from now, we will have the draft. So guys, there's plenty that we will get to over the next month or so, and it'll be all systems go from there because you'll have everything going on. So keep it locked in, man. I don't really have too much more to say. I apologize that I am sick, guys, but I wanted to get through this, and I think I did a pretty good job. So, Drew, you got anything else for people out there before we get off?
Yeah, I just want to say we know our team. We actually watch this baseball team year in and year out. So to everyone who sits there and ranks us low, it's because they don't understand us or doesn't know us or doesn't care to watch or be accurate or whatever. You guys can go at it for yourselves because we know what we have. We know who we are. We know our identity, and we believe in this ball club, like Zach said. And just as it always is, let's go Guards.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week when I am not sick and I'm a little more lively and not feeling like crap. So until then, I hope you guys have a great week. Let's go Guards.